Hey drummers, how's it going? It's Alex once again, bringing you some more fun free drumming ideas. For this week's lesson I've got a nice little practice pad exercise for you. It's a really simple one to pick up, really quick and easy to understand. It's simply going to develop like hand speed and sort of hopefully develop a little bit of finger control and technique so you can get that nice bit of synergy between your wrist and your fingers and hopefully get that speed up. So if you like we saw in the intro and you want to give this one a crack, stick around and I'll break it down. Here we go. Alright, so for this lesson I'm going to be using the new Balbex practice pad. This is a really nice little bit of kit. When I saw they'd released it, I sort of sent them over an email because they give me like free sticks and stuff like that and they look after me really well and they've supported me for about the last 4 or 5 years. They will send me t-shirts and stuff like that and you've sort of seen that helps me out a tiny bit as well. So I got them to send me this practice pad because I really like the design. The idea behind it, it's quite a nice sort of additional pad. It's not the sort of one I'm necessarily going to sort of practice on all the time at home, but if you're on the road and you don't want to be taking like a music stand with you or something like that, it's just got this cool design where you can slip these sticks in, put it between your legs and off you go. So highly recommend it. There's a link down in the description. Again, this is not a paid sponsorship, I just really like the product and I just want to say thank you to the guys at Balbex for helping me out. Alright, so moving on to the exercise itself. It's simply 8 eighth notes with your right hand, so that's one measure of 8 notes, and then we do the same with the left, the same again with the right, the same with the left, so we've got 4 bars in total so far, and then what we're going to do is we're going to bring the hands together and play 16th notes, single strokes for 2 bars. And we're going to sort of loop this round a few times, and then if you want to finish it off, just see if you can start blasting out those 16ths, maybe 4 bars or something like that. The main thing we're going to focus on is trying to get the mechanics down between like your fingers and your wrist. Because your wrists, I find personally, and this is all down to personal preference, your wrists will get you so far. You definitely get more power when you're just sort of like using your wrists and bouncing the stick off the palm of your hand and stuff like that. And that's great if you're sort of like paying up to about maybe 160, 170 before it starts to sort of get tighten up, a little bit stiff and tighten up as you go. But ultimately we all know that, the faster you want to go, the more relaxed you have to be, so you have to apply these different techniques. And what we're going to be looking at today is trying to get those fingers active. So they're going to sort of like help create this little cage and sort of bounce the stick between the palm of your hand and the tips of your fingers while working perfectly with the wrist. And what I've actually done, like just a bit earlier, what I did was I just filmed playing single strokes with my right hand, quite fast, probably about sort of 190 beats per minute as 8th notes, and then we've slowed it down. So I'll just cut to that now so you can kind of see what's going on. So if you take a look at what was going on there, you could kind of see that the wrist was sort of like initiating the actual swing itself. And then we were relying on the bounce. So as soon as that stick bounced up, my fingers moved away to allow the stick to move. But then when it reached a certain point, they just start bringing it back. And it's that little motion there you want to practice. You'll also notice that the thumb was quite straight as well. So what I'm doing there is I'm creating a nice tight like pivot point between my thumb and the side of my index finger. Okay, so that's the fulcrum. That's where it's all going to sort of like, that's where the lever action is going on. So that bit's got to be a nice tight grip, and then actually all the work is actually coming from sort of like using just from my index finger downwards this little motion here. And what we're going to do is we're just practicing that. When we get to our 8th notes and we start bringing up the speed a little bit, you kind of have to apply this technique to maintain control of the stick, because if not, your stick's going to be sort of like moving all over the place, and that's kind of what you want to keep these fingers here for, as well as helping you sort of bounce the stick back into the palm of your hand. And for me, personally, with the right hand, it was really easy straight away. So obviously I've been doing this for quite a long time, but when it came to the left hand, okay, and I'm not moving my wrist too much, when I started doing it in my left hand, I could feel like, it was just like, ugh. And it was at that moment there that I realised that every time I've been playing single stroke rolls, my right hand was like the strong leader, and then my left hand was kind of like this passenger just sort of tagging along. And I'd never actually sort of focused on the actual technique to make sure I got it down. So I'd actually spend a lot of time just playing my left hand until I didn't really need to actually sort of use my wrist to sort of like, especially on the upstrokes when you're trying to bring that stick back up so you can swing it down again. Just using those fingers to create that little bit of speed without the stick sort of wanting to wobble back and forth, and you do end up sort of developing these little muscles just between your thumb and your index finger, and that's what this exercise is all about. I know I've done a lot of talking, but we'll get into the playing in a second. So I'm just going to go through it, sort of a medium tempo. So we've got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1. Cool, right, that took me over. Okay, so another cool thing about this pad is the fact that you can actually sort of practice on your accuracy as well. So I'm just going to flip it down like this, and I like to practice it a little bit like this. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1. So that was just one round. I'll probably keep that going for a few minutes at a time. Like I said, just start off if you need to, just by playing right, left, and try it. And it really does help playing in front of a mirror, because one of the things you want to make sure is that your sticks are coming up like the same distance. You're almost trying to get your left hand to copy what your right hand's doing, so it almost becomes like just as competent as your right hand. Obviously that's going to sort of lead to clarity in your notes, like consistency and a nice clean sound, which we all want. And hopefully this will translate over to your drum fills when you start blasting this around the kit and you develop that nice technique in your left hand. It's sort of lagging behind, you're not getting those little bomb notes which are just sort of like disrupting the flow of some of those drum fills. So again, this exercise is absolutely brilliant. It's very, very simple, and it's probably, without a doubt, one of the most straightforward, to the point. It's going to increase and improve your hand speed and technique if you focus on it and are a little bit patient with it. You're not necessarily worrying about like just speeding it up straight away. It's more getting to the point, especially for me, where that left hand feels just as comfortable, just bouncing away consistently, same height, and like using my right hand as an example. So my right hand's nice and comfortable, but getting that left hand to copy that did take a little bit of time. So again, I'm just going to go through it one more time. I'll just blast away through it, and then I'm going to play it. I'll just change the angle so maybe you can see it from like the side or something like that. I'll find a nice angle, and we'll sort of start it off at like maybe 130 or 120, something like that. We'll bring it up to 150, and then we'll see if we can crank it up to like 190, 200 beats per minute. So for every beat, you're playing 4 notes. When you get to a 16th notes, or if you're just sort of playing the 8th notes, it's going to be 2 notes per beat. Alright drummers, so there it is. I hope you enjoyed the lesson. Thank you very much for watching. If you did like the video, please give it a like, that always helps. Share it with your other drumming buddies. And if you're not subscribed, subscribe to the channel, and you'll get a couple of free lessons a month. And if you want to be extra special, check out my new website, which is alexribchesterdrums.com, and over there you'll get a drum lesson every week for the small price of like just over $5 a month, or if you're in England, £5 a month. And eventually over time I'm going to get a nice catalogue of exclusive sponsored videos, so whether you sort of sign up and help out now or a bit later down the line, everything's a massive help. So until next time, take care, keep drumming. and I'll see you very soon for some more fun-free jumping ideas. Alright, see you later.
A heart is wrong when you don't remember.